What's up everyone, today in Dragonheir we are taking a deep dive into Eurion, the legendary ice defense hero. I will cover his skills and ideal builds, but also I will tell you where, when and how to use him. Plus I will give you some bonus tips and tricks, so let's go right into it.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go.
Alright guys, so first, who is Eurion? A legendary ice defender or slash tank, and he excels at surviving huge damage, especially high burst damage. So now let's go over his kit. So on his passive, when receiving fatal damage, becomes immune to death and removes all control effects and debuffs, then raises his shield and stops attacking, gaining receive healing up to, invincibility and 2 stacks of recovery over time for 5 seconds. And this effect can trigger once every 60 seconds. And this is amazing guys. This is like a fail safety, and this is how you can survive the burst damage, the lethal damage. Especially in areas like Grave or Venom, right? The Harpy damage. So amazing passive already. And we just starting. Then on his battle skill, he deals 300% defense core damage to enemies within range and dispels all their shields with 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty 2 for 5 seconds. And you can scroll it all the way to 100% chance. This is amazing guys. This is very good because it helps him with survivability. If he can put the attack penalty 2, right? It reduces the damage of the enemy. And also in the areas where there is a lot of shielding, like Grave of Venom, he actually dispels the shields, which will speed your run, right? So amazing battle skill. And lastly, on his ultimate, he grants ally protection to all allies except the hero for 10 seconds, then gains a 600% defense shield for 10 seconds, and gains 30% damage reduction and defense up 1 for 10 seconds. This is amazing guys. This helps him so much in content like Grave of Venom, Grave of Curse, Arena or Vortex, right? So this is amazing. And to get the most out of Eurion, focus primarily on defense and accuracy on your gear, and use gear like Tundra Tenacity because it gives you HP and accuracy. And also if you use the 3 pieces, the Weaver gains 1% ultimate energy each time taking damage. This will help him to, cast much faster, which is amazing because then he can get the attack penalty too on the boss, the debuff. And also his ultimate, which grants him a shield and the ally protection and damage reduction and defense up 1. Awesome, like these are incredible buffs. The another good gear on him is this Ancestral Protection, because it gives him HP and defense. And also, if you use the 3 pieces, it decreases the Weaver damage taken by 10%, while 50% of other allies' damage taken is transferred to him. And he can survive so much, right? So this is amazing. These 2 gear pieces, go for all 3 of them, and you set, right? And the last piece that you want, it's up to you. Like, for me, for this example, I'm using the Brotherhood Spirit, just 1 piece. It doesn't give me any bonus, but this piece is pretty good because it has the defense as a main stat, defense percentage, and it has a lot of accuracy on it. So that's why I'm using. But you can also use some mythical pieces like this one. The Weaver, when the Weaver takes the critical damage, has 50% chance of reducing attacker's crit rate by 30% for 5 seconds. This is pretty good if you use him in Arena, right? Or another good gear is the Clean Sweep. When the Weaver ultimate recharge completes, dispels all negative effects from him. This is another very good gear. Or you can use the Schadenfreude, I can't even pronounce it, because each time the Weaver successfully inflicts a debuff, performs 2% max HP self-healing. And he has a debuff on his battle skill, right? The attack penalty. So this will proc on his battle skill, and it gives him a little bit of healing and survivability. So I'd really recommend to build him with 3 pieces of the Tundra Tenacity or the Ancestral Protection. But preferably Tundra Tenacity, I think is the best gear on him. And then use one of the mythical gears that I show you, for something for survivability. And then the artifacts that you want to use on him, the best artifact in my opinion is the Scarab Amulet because of the stats. It gives him some HP and defense percentage. And the Weaver gains 500% defense shield for 10 seconds when the HP is below 30%. And this effect can only be triggered once every 45 seconds. This even boosts his survivability even more, right? Because every time he falls low, he will get this shield, and even if the shield is destroyed, then his passive will proc, right? When he takes the fatal damage. So this is like the best artifact on him. The other artifacts that are kinda good are the Stone Cloak, because it gives him HP and defense percentage, and at the start of the battle, it grants the Weaver 10%, if you fully max it, 15% max HP shield that lasts for 15 seconds. This is pretty good, it helps with survivability. And the last piece that's pretty good on him is this banner. The Banner of Oath. It gives him defense and HP percentage, And the Weaver obtains 15% all the way to 25% extra defense when ally is nearby, right? So this is pretty good if you're using two front lines. If you're using one tank or bruiser or two tanks, something like that. So this is good too. And from the mythical artifacts, they are not that good, but one that's pretty good on him is the Rift Hourglass, because it gives some HP accuracy. But the Weaver gains 100% extra skill haste, which is awesome because this way he will cast more frequently, which is incredible, especially for his attack penalty too, and stealing a shield. So if you're dealing with any kind of bosses that have a lot of shielding, for example, in the Universe Expedition, on stage 4, there was the Grave of Venom kind of dungeon, the Harpy, and he was doing a lot of shielding. And this way, if you use the Hourglass, he will cast his battle skill quite often, which will, steal the shield or dispel the shield. And then it will also help his ultimate, the ally protection, damage reduction, stuff like that. So Hourglass is pretty good on him as well. So these are the best artifacts that I would recommend. And the best out of these ones is the Scarab Amulet, in my opinion. So these are the artifacts. And for the runes, let's go over the runes. On a positive rune, you want a defense with the defense percentage, skill haste, and accuracy. Unfortunately, I don't have that. But there is a defense percentage, and skill haste. So this is pretty good for the positive rune. But the runes also, it depends on your gear. Like, what you're lucky on your gear, that's what you're trying to find on the runes. But on the runes, I would always recommend to go for the skill haste, because this is the only way how to get the skill haste. If you don't count the bonuses from gear, like the 2 pieces, right? I'm not talking about the substats, I'm talking about these bonuses. For example, the Cyril, it gives him the skill haste, the 20 skill haste here if you have 2 pieces. But you cannot get any substat, skill haste substat, at least in season 1. So that's why I would really recommend to get some skill haste in the runes. So try to find it, right? Then the negative rune, I would recommend to go with accuracy, with defense, and skill haste as well. Unfortunately, I don't have that rune, like a rune that's gonna be that good. I'll show you. I have this one. It could be a little bit better because it has a lot of accuracy, skill haste, and defense percentage. And it's very good, but I'm using on my Rava, and I want my Rava to do, more of her debuff. But this would be amazing. Like, this type of negative rune would be pretty good on your Eurion. But as I told you earlier, it really depends on what you're lacking on your gear. So in my gear, or in my version, I have him built with almost 70k HP, 5.5k defense, 279 accuracy. There are also some content when you need resistance, so I will not cover it right now. But this is like the overall gear that you try to get on your Eurion. And now let's go over his talents. So I'd really recommend to go with the middle path, because that gives you some awesome talents for him. Like this one, the Blessing of the Waves. Takes 10% less damage when the hero has any buff of any kind. Pretty good. Then the next one is Rugged Tenacity. Increase max HP by 30%. Very good for your tank. But this is the best talent in this middle path, the Turn the Tides. When HP falls below 20%, recovers 20% max HP and can trigger once every 30 seconds up to 3 times per battle. And this plus his passive is broken, because he gets the 2 stacks of recovery over time, plus this, both of them can proc at the same time. So if that happens, he pretty much heals to full health. Like, this is awesome. Like, on him, this is incredible. Like, he already has the survivability on his kit, but this boosts it even more. And the last talent, the tier 6 talent, the Tactical Advance, at the start of battle, absorbs 1% ultimate energy and 1% HP from all units on the field, and this effect triggers once every 30 seconds. This is pretty good because at the beginning he does a lot of damage to the bosses because of this, because it takes 1% of the HP and the ultimate energy. It's pretty good, but the best talent from the middle path is the Turn the Tides, because it boosts his survivability so much. It's insane how much it actually helps him. So the area where he excels is a Grave of Venom. He's an amazing tank for Grave of Venom because of his burst damage survivability, on his passive and on his ultimate, the damage reduction, the ally protection, defense up 1, and the attack penalty. These are all great buffs and debuffs for Grave of Venom, right? So he is amazing here. The another content where he excels is also Grave of Curse. Because of his damage reduction, he makes sure that the boss doesn't do too much damage, which means he doesn't get too much shield, right? So this will negate his battle skill, the boss battle skill. And also, his ally protection and damage reduction is amazing on his ultimate, because you can time it at 13.5 seconds if you do the skill timing. And this way, he will use it before the boss does his battle skill. And also, it will stay, the ally protection will stay on everybody until the boss does his ultimate. And the ultimate does amazing amount of damage. And it steals one of your buff. And if you don't have any buff left on your heroes, it does 50% more damage. So if you time the Eurion at 13.5 seconds, I made a video about it. So if you struggle with the Grave of Curse, definitely go check it out. But if you time it at 13.5 seconds, it will stay on your allies when the boss does the ultimate, which means he has to steal the ally protection or some other buffs. So if you have multiple buffs, if he steals different buff, there is the ally protection, so he doesn't do too much damage. And if he steals the ally protection buff, you will have different buff on your hero, so the boss doesn't do that much damage. So Eurion excels at two amazing dungeons, especially early on. You want to farm these dungeons a lot, you know, to get a good gear. So he's amazing for early on, and you get him for free around like day 3. So he's insanely good legendary hero. Eurion can also be used in Arena and Temporal Vortex, and you want to use him pretty much in any areas where you need to high survivability, or you want to survive a high burst damage, and when you need to get rid of the enemy shield. To wrap it up, Eurion is very strong, Ice legendary hero. His ability to survive lethal blows via the Undying Glory, the shield and damage reduction through his ultimate, and the dispelling shield and putting down attack penalty through his battle skill makes him one of the best tanks in the game, especially early on. And he's free legendary hero that you can get in the first 3 days, which makes him insane. I'll give him 10 out of 10 early on to mid in season 1. And 8.5 out of 10 in late game. He's insanely good and he can carry you a lot. Especially the early stages of the game where you need to farm a lot of gear. He's insanely good. I'm constantly using him in the Grave of Venom, the Grave of Curse. And I was using him a lot in Vortex early on. But then I found my Wildfire team and I stopped using him. But he was very good in there as well. If you like this guide, be sure to like and subscribe. Also comment below how much and where are you using Eurion. And what is your rating of this legendary hero? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!